Good evening, good evening, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Black Space Live, and stay tuned for an amazing show this evening. Black Space is a place for us.
Real people with real issues.
Discussing real topics.
Black Space.
A safe space for our community.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Black Space Live. I am your host, Ms. Network NiQ. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, Rumble, Instagram, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, and iHeartRadio. We have a wonderful show lined up for you this evening with Mr. DJ Bay, entitled From the Blockchain to the Lovechain. No romance without finance. Welcome back, Mr. Bay. How are you this evening?
Peace. All is well as well. How you doing?
I'm well. It's good to see you. Good to see you. We got a good show lined up this evening, and I'm gonna be throwing some things at you. I hope you can handle it.
I'm
Can
gonna do
you
my best.
handle it? Okay. I might be on one this evening. So we going from the blockchain to the love chain, but we might be going from the love chain to the blockchain, just depending on how you want to take it. But we're gonna get into some politics, right? Some real-time events, because it is election time, and whether we're in tune with it or not, things happen if we pay attention to the patterns, things happen every year or every season around election time, and that's the flare up of your Black Lives Matter incidences, or your your racial tension. Excuse me. You have your rigging of the elections, but how do you feel about what's going on right now, and the fact that Arizona is still counting ballots? When we can have American Idol and they can count ballots on commercial break, but Arizona is still counting ballots.
It's for me. It's like expecting like a broken record to play a different song. You feel me? Yeah. It's like, why are we trying to expect anything different from the same exact system? And there is just like, people have a very short-term memory here within this society, or specifically within this particular corporation, which we call the United States. They get upset whether it's every 4 years, and the cycle is designed so specifically and intelligently in order for people to forget, because their minds don't extend towards that long, just mainly because of the type of education they receive here. So it's so very strategic. The 4-year setup, or either the 2-year midterm setups, nobody even remembers what most people have done in the last cycle. So by the time we just said the same thing, voter suppression. We were talking about it throughout the last election. What makes you think that anything has changed in order to stop voter suppression? Nothing. What makes you think that they're going to count all the ballots properly? Nothing. But does that mean that you're not supposed to vote? No, it does not. Because you still have to be able to design the community that is around you. And that includes the politicians, your mayors, your governors, the people who you vote to become sheriff. These are all elected officials. So
I'm sorry. I'm so rude. I want you to introduce yourself, because I know you. I just kind of went right in for the kill. You know what I'm saying? I'm a little excited. But please introduce yourself to the audience at large, because we have a very wide audience, and maybe they didn't see you introduce yourself before.
Okay. Well, peace, everyone. I am DJ Bay. I am the CEO of several companies. One of them is Atum Cybertech. Then there's also Game Face Growing Farms. Also Trust Fund Baby NFT project, on top of several other businesses that it's a long list to mention. But yeah, I'm a serial businessman, author, 3rd-degree black belt, world record holder, father, husband. I'm a lot of things.
A lot of things. Okay, okay. So that we just gonna jump right back into it. We're gonna get into game face in a minute because I have questions about that. But getting back into what I mean, since this is Black Space Live and we cater to the Black community and getting them, you know, abreast of things, um, voting. Do you even feel like it matters really? Like
Yeah,
your personal opinion?
voting matters when you have the proper infrastructure in place and you can ensure that your vote is going to count. It matters when the system isn't flawed.
I mean, even when they
Because
rigging votes, you know,
yeah,
like you got
but bad
this.
what's the term? Bad root, bad fruit. So with a poor system, you're only going to continuously get poor results. So because we see the flaws in the system and it has failed to correct it, we're going to continuously see those same poor results. So like I said earlier, expecting a different result from this broken system, you're not going to get the type of change that you desire. This is the reason why some people in today's society are creating micro societies, and you have a lot of people who are becoming more aware of their constitutional rights. And then you have the place where I live, how the current governor, as of right now, DeSantis, he calls it the free state of Florida, where he really presses the importance of constitutional laws versus federal, because Florida laws are different than a lot of states. And that's very important for people to understand. What jurisdiction you reside in, what are the rules of engagement within that particular area, because this is how you have to conduct your commercial activity on a day-to-day basis. Whether if they allow you to carry firearms, whether if they allow you to do sports betting in that state, because in the state of Florida they don't, but in Michigan they do. So like I said, depending on your political affiliations and connections will also affect your income.
Do you buy into this thing that there is a deep state? Because I mean, just you know, throwing it out
Excuse
there.
my laughter. It's just because like I grew up on a military base, and I have a scientific mind, and in order to have a scientific mind, you have to always be open and susceptible to change. So I remember one time one of my peers back in Michigan, he had introduced like the flat Earth theory to me, and initially I was like, "What WTF?" Like, you know. And but it kept on being presented to me to a point where I'm like, well, the universe will only give me things in this capacity if I'm supposed to actually pay attention to it. Right. So just having an open mind and understanding that there are groups and societies, and I belong to one of the largest societies in the whole world. I tell people openly because like it's public record. I'm a Freemason. I was one of the youngest Freemasons to ever be established in the state of Michigan. So it's when you talk about deep states, hierarchies like CIAs, FBI's, government intel agencies, we have those with all of our organizations. I have intel collection and data collection within my own company and my own tribe, because you have to be able to secure your future. And how else are you supposed to do this without data acquisitions? But most people don't understand that deep state, to some people, it is the disruption of everyday life.
Right.
And if you're disrupting my business, I'm going to disrupt yours.
Right.
And if the United States is my business and the things that you're doing is putting it in a jeopardizing situation, I'm for sure going to have things and mechanisms in place in order to stop people who will try and disrupt my money. You feel me? So it's just like I have a scientific mind, I have an open mind, so I'll be willing to, like entertain some things that the average individual wouldn't necessarily.
Okay. That's an interesting take. That's a take that I'd really never entertained, or a perspective that I've never really entertained, because when I think of deep state, I'm thinking people out to get me. You know what I'm saying?
But why? What? Also, think about how many people it is on this particular landmass. Or just think about how many people carry a social security number. How many people are actually into the United States jurisdiction? When we had the Patriot Act after 9/11, that allowed them to technically share your privacy with you. That's the best way I can say it. So when you think you're alone, you're really not alone. Like the Alexa situation, you're always being listened to. You can even tell when you're on your phone. It's suggestive marketing. You may say something like, me, I was looking for some headphones, and I have some bone conductor headphones, but it started, I said it out loud, then it would start marketing it to me on my phone. This is because of the microphone, the data analytics, and just the AI, the machine learning software that has been established. You don't have privacy anymore because everything is about commerce. Now I know how to better sell to you because you're telling me how to better sell to you. You feel me?
Yeah. It's a little intrusive. I guess I'm still getting over my I guess you can call it fears or apprehensions of it all.
That's
the way that you're
the conscious community. That be the conscious community scaring people like that. They be having people nervous out here. You be shook off that information.
So okay, because I mean, I was even gonna go into DeSantis being sponsored by the Lincoln Project, who.
What that mean? I'll let Bill Gates sponsor me. That don't mean I agree with everything he's saying.
Interesting. Why? When you know he's like buying up land to sell us.
Now, why wouldn't it behoove me in order for me to get in a position to where I can have an understanding of why this man is doing what he's doing, and also possibly align my family to be able to benefit from what it is he's doing if he's planning that far ahead for the future and has this type of income? People have to adjust their perception instead of always thinking people are evil, they're a hater. No, learn how to play chess. You'll get far in life.
You're right. Okay, so what do you think of Black Lives Matter?
What can I say? It's a scam. Now you know. She said, "Baby girl got that big house in Cali." Yo, like I didn't make a lot of bread, and I refuse to overextend myself financially, and you can really tell what people's objectives and goals are when they move in such a lofty manner. Because what is your need for you to move into a multi-million-dollar house and then you haven't established the income in order for you to be able to be sustainable in this situation? Like, do you feel like you need this type of privacy, or are you just really like you're a social gold digger? And that's really what Black Lives Matter ended up being presented as. Not to say that, not to disrespect anybody, but I'm talking about that the corporation itself, the LLC or whatever.
Yeah.
The people who was running that was established by George Soros, a very wealthy European man who has no care for nobody with complexions like ours, which is documented. I'm not just making it up.
Right. No, you're right. That's why I brought it up, because it's like every major election that comes around, and that's the only time that they pay attention to Black deaths, but Black deaths happen like every single day almost. So that's the only reason why I brought it up. And it's like it goes into
because they want the so-called Black vote.
Is it working?
Yeah, it does.
Why is it continuously
melanated people put Biden in that position? Melanated people voted for Joe Biden.
I know, because he said one phrase: "If you don't vote for me, you ain't Black." This other guy had a whole contract of opportunities that he was willing to sign with whoever voted Ice Cube to be the representative of us. It didn't matter. He was willing to sign it and make an agreement with the community, but he had it outlined, and I just don't understand what is wrong with our community. I'm not going to say our, because I'm not a part of that.
I was just going to ask you, because like when I was filming earlier, when people present questions, sometimes I have to rebuttal with the question, because for you to say that's your, or just when they present statements, sometimes I have to rebuttal with a question.
Right.
For you to say that that's your particular community, I would then have to ask you, well, what is your community, and what are you saying these people are made up of in order for you to, you know, group yourself with these type of
They're
people?
embarrassing right now. Like, and
But
I'm
this
not.
is be mindful of how you're saying things, because these are still our brothers and sisters, just off of general looks in some aspects. But
Listen,
we
the
have
devil
a
coming
social
in.
engineering.
The devil come in all different, you know, you can shape shift. We're in a different age right now. And what I'm saying is my brother half of the time. If you want to be very transparent with it, like
Yeah.
his wife is European and she's more of my sister. And I'm being very transparent right now. She's more of my sister than he is most of the time. All skin folks ain't kin folks. I've had to learn that in some of the most painful ways, in some of the most humiliating ways. And I'm gonna go ahead and say that if we're just gonna talk about team, since we're on, you know, this is Black Space Live and we cater to the Black community, we're embarrassing as fuck. We're embarrassing, right? Because we fall for the same stuff. Literally, this is not to shoot any shots at anybody, but all we're focused on is somebody did it. A man did it to me. My mother did it to me. My daddy did it to me. Somebody did it, instead of what can I do for myself? When you go on, and you can go on any public platform, whether it be a podcast or YouTube or whatever, and you can look at what other people are paying attention to. They're paying attention to how to purify water, how to survive. You know what I'm saying? Like the real necessities that matter. You know, I saw a quote and somebody, like, it was a verbal quote, like a verb, you know, they got reels now with 30 seconds. And he was saying, you know, we're chasing a carrot, money, and literally that's probably not even your top 5 on your list, because if I gave you $1 million today and said you had to die tomorrow, how much is that $1 million worth? You know what I'm saying? If I gave you $1 million today and said your mother had to die tomorrow, how much is that $1 million worth? We're chasing dreams. We're chasing carrots, silly rabbits. And it's so embarrassing to the point where there's like 50 million relationship podcasts. No disrespect to anybody's podcast, but what I'm saying is we are not focused on really the matters at hand, because once you get to a certain level, 2 billionaires can be of different races in the room, and none of this shit matters. None of this stuff matters, right? I have to tame my tongue a little bit.
No, so you don't feel like relationships hold a precedence in your financial system?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So for it to be
However,
so many, no, I'm just saying, for it to be so many relationship podcasts, would you say that would be particularly a catalyst in order to allow people to conduct better business, even though that they don't know that?
It's a distraction because they're not even at the wherewithal to have any business value to add to a relationship if a relationship presented themselves. Does that make sense? Like they're at the point where, like, literally people sum it up. A summation is, I want a good partner. Well, what the hell does that mean? You know what I'm saying? They don't know what that means. They want a feeling. It's like church. They want to feel good. You know, at the end of Monsters Ball, where Halle Berry said, I just want to feel good. One of those. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, yeah, you want to feel good. I want to feel good. But after I got my some sort of wherewithal of what I can bring to the table, how I can advance us, and what happens after the feel good moment, because most of these children that are being born now are the result of a feel good moment. And there's nothing wrong with that, but there's everything wrong with that, because the people that are doing it don't even have the wherewithal to create a better situation. They're praying for one. It goes back to voting. Like, you literally voted for a person that you just prayed was going to give you a better situation, instead of a person that had it mapped out. You didn't like them because he hurt your feelings. I'm gonna hurt your feelings a little bit. You know what I'm saying? But what I'm saying is it can't be really refuted. You can have different perspectives, and I'm not going to beg you to have my perspective, but really the truth will always remain. You know, like you have to have some sort of outline, and provision. That's what, kind of is the little spark that I see with Mr. Bay here. But it's like you got to have some sort of provision. If you can't think further than me and you don't have it mapped out, then it's like, what is the point of having a feel good moment?
But see, that's what relationships are like puzzles, like shopping carts. They're all a la carte. It's like your Amazon wish list. It's all based on what you desire, not what everybody desires, because no two people are exactly the same. Even though people may have similarities between like zodiac signs and things like this, but even in all actuality, like my partner Sagittarius, like we're alike, but we're very different because I'm more susceptible to change, and she likes to be in her mode where she's comfortable, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I'm quick to change and adapt. It allows me to evolve quickly in business. So just understanding the people that you're around. I don't I don't necessarily think that I understand where you're coming from when you speak on the negative aspect or components of all of the different relationship podcasts, because if they're not doing it within the mode and educating people of what the end goal is, they are kind of just wasting time and energy, and it's just another drama filled situation, which is not going to help us to move forward as a people. So we really got to have some understanding. But it's like how my CFO explained it to me. Everybody don't have the particular, like how she is, like the way she explained, everybody doesn't have the particular gift that I have, the way that where I can speak in a certain capacity, just or how my brain operates in a certain capacity in order for me to be able to do certain things. So in order to expect the whole world to operate on the frequency that some of us who may have an elevated consciousness do, this is like when we talk about biblical and scripture. The older I got, the more that number, the 144,000 people are going to make it, the more it started to make sense, because I'm like, yo, when I was young, I'm like, it's a lot of people here. I'm like, yo, like this is kind of messed up. And then you start talking to adults and you be like, oh, okay, I get it. Because you don't get it. And then it makes sense now. It makes sense. Okay. And it's just crazy how some things click like that. And I'm not a super religious individual either, right, but it's wild. It is. It really is.
Yeah, you're right. It's like I being a woman and a caring woman and a loving woman, I want everybody to be able to go. I want to be able to nurture everybody to be able to actually see, you know. It took a lot for me to get to this point, to actually see that everybody just can't go. Some people are going to be caught up in the hype. They're going to just be that way. We seen what happened with Ye and Kyrie, and how you see these brothers aren't saying anything. They may be delivering it improperly, but they're not saying anything that's
just go ahead and come out and say you're a self-made show, because you you just don't care. You're gonna talk about all the hot topics.
Well, this is the thing. Like, I'm talking about the people who shut him down. Our people that look like us that actually went against him. Like, these are the same people that, probably killed Jesus in his time.
I was about to say, go back to biblical. Wasn't it the same people who apparently looked like the man who crucified him?
My heart bleeds, because it's like, these are my people. Like, I thought it was going to be the other side. I thought it was going to be the ops. You know what I'm saying? You got some of the ops that's riding harder than some of us. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, okay, so we'll kind of fall back off of that. But this
I'm
is
about
the
to say,
reason why I don't feel sorry for anybody that looks like me that gets left behind, because at this point, you deserve it. There's been so many patterns. We just talked about so many patterns, election patterns, whether it's every 4 years, every 8 years, that presents itself to you, the opportunity to change or to jump timelines and to do something different. And majority of us are doing the same. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's pretty much what I wanted to kind of put a period on that. So we're gonna get into relationships, since that's what everybody likes to talk about. You know what I'm saying?
I don't, unless it's about my business relationships. But it's not like
That's how I am. But I mean, we're different.
But I'm about to say, I say that like I'm not in the type of situation that I'm in, but it's like I don't talk about my relationships. Like I develop them, but it's not really like an open topic like that.
Right. Okay. So we're going to talk about, I would like to know this, because we kind of left off of the last show and I had a lot of questions. Right. So I want to get these questions answered, just for, for some people who are watching sake. So we were talking about two women possibly being together and adding on. We were talking about polygamous relationships. Let's get that clear for people who didn't watch the last show. Go ahead and watch the last show and then catch yourself up. We were talking about poly relationships and two women actually being together and inviting a man on. And where we left off was you were saying that, you have to be careful because someone could feel like they're being used. And I kind of sat with that a little bit because I feel like that could go either way. Even when it's a man and woman relationship and a woman is added on, she could feel like she's being used in a way as well because she's disposable. When a man is added
What
on,
makes you disposable in a polygamous situation?
what makes who?
What makes anybody disposable in a polygamous situation?
Well, you made a statement that said, even if she's fit, she may not fit, or something like that.
I
Correct
said
me if I'm wrong.
even if she was thick, she may not be a fit.
Okay, there you go. Even if she was thick, she may not be a fit, and that makes apparently someone disposable.
No, because like I'm just talking about my own personal experiences, because like men, we move off what we see first. It's not really much behind that.
Okay, so when you made the statement, when I introduced the idea that two women would be together and adding on a man, you said be careful of that because he could feel like he's, disposable. I don't understand how a man could be disposable because he's the only missing link in the chain. You know what I'm saying? He has something
Just being realistic, how female relationships work. They build bonds. Those are relationships that are solely built off of emotional attraction. So because that bond is already there and then needs to be developed with the male, even though like that's organic and natural, it then has to be developed with two different people. But because they have already had this seniority when it comes to the relationship, it then can create situations that can make people uncomfortable, just because just like throughout a relationship, like you learn how to communicate without necessarily even talking. You understand certain things. You know your partner. These are the type of things that you end up developing in your relationship, and these can create instances where it can create levels of insecurity. So even though that may be personal, again, their relationships, they're made up of compromise, because then if you want this individual to be there, you have to be understanding and meeting of their needs the same way they have to be of yours, even if it is a man. Like, and that's something that women have to be really upfront about the type of man that they want, because you will say something and you will get exactly what it is that you are looking for, because the universe is very specific. Maybe like, you want a good man. What type of good man are
Right.
you looking for? You
Right.
want somebody who's always home. Okay, then you want somebody who's potentially going to be a bum. Like, be very specific in what you're saying. I want somebody
So
who always working. Okay, so then you're going to have somebody who's potentially often tired, and you're going to have to cook and meet some needs for. So understand what it is you're saying to the universe. That way you can receive exactly what it is you desire.
Absolutely. I'm in agreement with that. Absolutely. I'm in my process of being very specific and kind of filtering through question and answer, with my options, if you will. But I do believe everyone has a potential to get what it is that they desire, So that's why I want to be as upfront and transparent about things as possible, because some people just have these hidden desires that their spouse don't even know about. You know what I'm saying?
I tell
So
people from the jump, I'm like, my only desire is, can we get money together? If not, we should just. I'm like, in all honesty, like, the physical part costs so much just to even entertain. Sometimes, like, if we can't do business and make it reciprocal, I usually lose interest immediately.
reciprocation. Absolutely.
I'm
Reciprocation.
like, I don't think that every relationship should just, like, I'm not pimping people out, just so I'm clear. But if it's going to take from my time, my life, my business, my family, it needs to provide me with some benefits.
Mm-hmm.
And people should think more highly of themselves, and maybe they'll
Right.
move a little bit differently out in the world. Like, be mindful of your genetics. Stop just sleeping with random people, because, like, understand what the women that men understand, what their families like, understand what your family's like, and make sure you're not out here making a little Tasmanian devils, fam.
That's so true. Like, and you are one of the people that taught me, like, if a person doesn't know their grandparents, then how do you know mixing with them is going to be par? Like, it's going to be, par for the course. It's like you dealing with people, not you per se, but people are dealing with people that their forefathers had beef with. And I'm
Yeah.
very, very particular nowadays about who I entertain, who I even allow in my space. I have a whole gate in front of my house. A lady that been probably knowing me since I was in my mother's womb asked me just the other day. She was just like, she saw me shopping in the store. She's like, you got a gate in front of your house now. You act like you don't want nobody to come by. I don't, right? I don't, right? Like, my home at this point that I've inherited from my grandparents is holy ground. I don't want you there if I don't know where you come from. Like, if it's about breaking generational curses and transgenerational wealth, I don't want none of that involved in me. Right. So mating is a science versus what people doing now, and they're dating and they go out on a date and they ask these very shallow questions like I'm asking you right now, but mating is a
What's your
science.
favorite color? How much you
Right.
make? Are
You
you vegan? Like,
it may
what?
make you feel good, get you a little tingling inside and all that stuff. And I want to say that's fine, because that's fine for
Do
me.
you have a 401k? What's your credit score? Do you have a car? Do you own your house? How many children do you have?
To
What
me,
is your
that's even
asset versus
surface level.
liability versus your income ratio? What does your asset portfolio look like? These are the type of questions that I care about.
Okay, so my questions are: can you fish? Can you make a fire that doesn't detect smoke to the enemy? Can you purify water? Like, I need
Man,
to be able to stay alive.
you're gonna have you gonna have a Boy Scout and he gonna be broke. And I used to be in Boy Scouts. I know I can do everything that you just asked. Like, I have a compound bow right across the room from me. Like, I can use that to go fishing. I know how to make fires, all of that stuff. I can build a whole house. But yo, if you outside of the building the house part, that's probably the only one that can make money.
The thing is, so money is essential. We get that. However, at this point in my life, I know how to make money. Like, I attract it. I've learned my.
So you're gonna be Oprah Winfrey, and you're gonna have just my man living in the bathhouse.
I'm not saying that I'm Oprah Winfrey, because I'm not having, sex slave in South Africa. However,
I'm talking about Stedman. Like, you're just gonna have a Stedman, and like you're gonna be the rich one. You're just gonna have a Stedman around.
No,
that's what it sounds like you saying, because you're saying like you got it. Not saying that you say you have to need help, but you said you got it.
I'm not saying that, because what I do need is provision. I do need guidance. I do need someone who thinks further than I do. However, the basics, the dating questions are like, these are foundational questions. So you said you check all those off the box. Okay, so that's first date questions. These people are dating without a mating science. Like, okay, so yeah, you get past the first date, but what comes next? Those things come next. You don't have a good credit score, I can create that for you. You know what I'm saying? But what do you know how to do with it? Do you know how to keep a good credit score? You know what I'm saying? Like, do you know how to strategize and leverage that good credit score? If you don't, are you open to listening to your woman and bouncing ideas off? Like, these things can be created, not necessarily a Stedman situation, but I kind of got that part for, the second step type of thing. However, there's women only see like a certain distance. Men are supposed to see further. So while I can handle the distance that I see,
I get told that by my empress. She was like, you're very much so in the future. So, and she was like, I have to be in the present. Well, I'm like, one of us, but at least that's a form of balance. Like,
yes,
because she will like reel me back into the moment, because like I heavily invest for the future. And then she's like, we have to take care of this right now. So then I have to adjust and pivot, because like I'm thinking for the future. I'm thinking about transgenerational wealth, setting up for future generations.
You're supposed to,
But I'm also supposed to have a partner who's able to see what the things that I'm not doing and be able to fill in those gaps for me, like how she will be grounded in the present and make sure that the things in the present are taken care of. My request is just communicate to me, because if I'm off in the damn metaverse or in VR land, I just need you to reel me back in and be like, we have to take care of this sometimes, because my brain is literally removed at this time.
Yeah. Okay, and I get that. How many wives do you think you can handle with all of that going on? I think one man can only.
I've never felt like in my mind. I've never went past 3. Like in total.
How many do you have right now? Okay, never mind.
Just two.
Okay.
No, look, I'm sure just two. That's it. No, it's just I don't. But it's so you will. Like, my life is private, but it's not that private. Okay. So, like, people can assume. They're like, oh, that must be her. But you'll probably never know. Because, like, we just gonna be like, but sometimes we may pop out with a picture. Like, it's been pictures of me in the past, and you would just see us, like, out at events, and it'd just be all of us together. But, yeah, like, right now, deuce, that's it.
Okay, so one more possibly.
Yeah. Yes, possible. Okay. Depending. Like, that's like, people think this is a light road. It is.
I know, for one man, it can't be. I don't even understand how you do it. Just without any help.
But that's the thing. Your partners help, and they're understanding, and they communicate, and they're tolerant of the whole situation. And especially when you have a plan, like a vision board, like I literally have a vision board that I made on shrooms a couple years ago, like up in my office, and like I was so detailed when I made it. I was microdosing, and I was just like, I used an X-Acto knife. I cut everything out very particular, but it was designed in a very specific manner because this is the direction that I was taking my business in. And I look at it today, like I was with one of my ex-girlfriends at the time. Like all of us, this was a group thing. Like we were making vision boards together, and clearly she wasn't on the vision board. If she was, she'd probably still be around. But but like as far as the aspects, like I have like a quantum cloud and stuff up there. Like I deal heavily in tech now. When I made this, I had no tech presence at all. Wow. So it's just like understanding the direction that you literally can shape and put your world and your relationship in, like in the group activities when it comes to that type of stuff. But like I said, I had a plan and a vision, and they understand what that is, and we can understand what our compromise is, so we all can meet and work towards a similar goal if it's not the same exact one that I see. How can what I plan for, like having this big ass estate and farm for all of us to live, you have a house over here, you have a house over here, how can this then be beneficial for you? Because what if you want to stay closer to a rural area? So then, I mean, we have to find land in a particular area in order to fit your needs. And then there's another person who needs to be met. Then there's another person possibly. And then there's the children who need to be met. So it gets deep.
That's a fact. That's a fact. So like that goes into when you speak about children and their needs and things of that nature, and planning ahead. It goes into kind of breaking generational curses and transgenerational wealth, which I feel like you are absolutely tapping into when it comes to like your provision and things of that nature. I want to get into like your tech, the technology aspect of it, because you said that you weren't into tech when you made the vision board, but you got into it. How did you get into that?
In all honesty, it was, I tell people all the time, like when it comes to business, you kind of have to take, for our community, the melanated people, you have to take a Snoop Dogg 50 Cent approach. You have to be like how Bruce Lee say, like water. You have to be fluid, adaptable, susceptible. So when you see a boom coming, and you see also, watch how big companies move. When you start seeing companies like Samsung and stuff come over into the metaverse and the NFT realm, you understand this is going to hold some type of precedence in the future. So I seen the play, and I understood that I needed to be knowledgeable in order so that I wouldn't be left behind, my business wouldn't be left behind, my community wouldn't be left behind, because there has to be some of us who understand this technology so that we can pass it on. And with me being an educator, like having the brain that I have, it was easy for me to, I've been messing with computers forever. So it was easy for me to go get a Python certification. Literally took me probably like 2 weeks to get certified in Python coding. And I coded out my own NFT project. I have 2 cryptocurrencies that are coded out on different blockchains. So, but I immersed myself into that level of information so that I can be knowledgeable about it, so that I can even articulate it and educate people in it, versus me just being a speculator. Like, no, like, here go my model. I made this, and you can see, like, I made this. You can see how it was done, and I can teach you how to do it for yourself. So me just as an educator, I knew that was important to do for sure.
Absolutely. That's very commendable and malleable. Like that's very adaptable. Like a lot of the tech stuff that I've taken, the courses that I've taken, I haven't even fully retained. I've just taken them so that I can go back when it's time and actually like and actually retain them. You know what I'm saying? So and like just go back and listen to them if necessary because of things that are coming in the future. Now, what I would like to add or ask is about how do you feel like you were speaking about, your own cryptocurrency and things of that nature. Like what do you feel about crypto right now? Like you got people, Sam whatever his last name is, that's money laundering crypto to the Dems and all of this stuff.
SBF was Sam Bankman-Fried or something like that.
Fried.
The FTX CEO who just recently stepped down after they claimed Chapter 11 bankruptcy. I'm very aware of the FTX scandal and the fact that he was just the face for another exit strategy. And they also had a Trojan horse door established in their system to where they could bail out billions of dollars and people wouldn't even be able to tell. And literally, when we were just filming earlier for one of our other wealth podcasts, we mentioned the fact that one of the partners on the podcast, he actually had 2 NFTs, NBA NFTs that are locked in his FTX account that's tied up in a bankruptcy that he can't even get to right now.
Right.
So just understanding the dynamics and like I'm liquid as hell. Like I only have Solana right now because I need it because I may have to mint some more NFTs. And I'm still going to stick with Solana because they're a tech heavy, developer heavy cryptocurrency and they have utility versus them just being a software. They have utility that the average user will learn to benefit from in the near future. Like the fact that, like I keep saying, they're going to release a cell phone next year. That I believe that's very beneficial for the UI, the user interface for a basic learning individual. Because if I could simplify you being onboarded to a crypto wallet, like I tell my peers all the time, MetaMask is a terrible onboarding wallet for a beginner.
Wow.
Because it looks terrible. It's not user friendly. But if you go over to something like Solana and they have the Phantom wallet, simple UI, very easy. You log in, you remember your password, and you're in there, right? And then it's simple for you to transfer funds, upload it, all of that stuff. So when companies look to simplify it, you're going to see a mass adoption. So I'm not saying that it's the end of cryptocurrency. What we're seeing is quantitative tightening in cryptocurrency. We're seeing a buckling down. We're about to see all of the BS S coins fade away, and we're going to see the real true hitters stick around. And these are going to be the ones that weather the storm through the bull market. And like even I just said it on the last episode, I'm like Robinhood not it.
Right.
What happened with FTX? Because FTX heavily invested in the Robinhood. Now look at the position Robinhood's in. They just goddamn crashed because Robinhood's not it. And you just
Robinhood never been it, if you ask me. But I guess my thing is, it's like you said, a lot of the S coins are going to go away. But how many of we just discovered that this man was or this currency was laundering money and donated like millions and billions of dollars to the midterm.
Why do you say laundering for the donation of the Democratic Party? Why do you think
that's
laundering? No, I'm saying why do you say that particular part is laundering?
I just read the article and it's actually like
okay. No, so because like I build out businesses. And I tell people all the time, if you ever see the movie the movie Laundromat, or you watch the show Ozark, like I build out corporations better than them people. So I understand what laundering is to a large extent, especially because we do offshore banking, and that's the reason why I asked specifically, like, why do you say that him investing in the Democratic Party was laundering? He for sure laundered, but I just want to know, why did you say that one particular part was laundering? But you could have just meant that he laundered. But he was shifting funds around in order, one, to evade taxation because it is centralized. So, they got to pay taxes and stuff on that type of stuff. And they are supposed to do KYCs. They're supposed to know their customer, or either have to allocate the taxation down to the customer. So with them being regulated in this aspect, that means their ledger is being watched. So it will behoove you, in order to, shave off a little bit so you can pocket what you need to pocket. But like I said, he built a back door into the ledger to where he could take billions of dollars and then not even bring up a red flag in the system.
That's true. It's I mean, a lot of stuff is coming out. So what do you feel about the future of crypto in general? Because I mean, now you see what is it, Coinbase? That popular one is sponsored by the World Economic Forum, and a lot of stuff is coming out about crypto right now that I mean,
Coinbase, if Coinbase got a World Economic Forum sponsorship, they're gonna be around just because if they were in, I remember when Coinbase, I had a Coinbase account when they were first starting out. I no longer use them.
right,
I personally don't rock with centralized exchanges. I'm a
right.
DeFi guy, and I I'm an Indian. I don't pay taxes, and I'm not going to allow nobody to put me in a situation to where I'm going to have a tax liability that I naturally wasn't born into. So I'm always mindful of the position I'm contracting in. But as far as cryptography isn't going anywhere. Like I said, we're in a quantitative tightening because of the economy going through what it's going through. The crypto market is receiving some of those pains. And the crypto market, because it's new to so many people, these could be considered growing pains. NFT market for sure. But when you understand what software is and the development of technology, AI, machine learning, augmented reality, mixed reality, virtual reality, this stuff isn't going anywhere. So
That's
it
why
would behoove people to get educated.
I like to separate crypto from blockchain so people understand that there's a difference when they hear about these.
But you can't,
Whatever.
because it's not one without the other. Because
You're right.
cryptography itself, it is time stamping of transactions.
Yeah.
So like literally, like copywriting is almost a form of cryptography, because when you copyright something, it comes with a particular timestamp. When I go register something with the clerk and they stamp it, they're going to give me a timestamp. That is digital time stamping. That is a form of cryptography. And the blockchain itself, they create these blocks in order to store data, and then they will throw the cryptography metadata within the block. So the version of cryptocurrency that we have would not exist without the blockchain, because it's necessary for those building blocks in order to store it, or otherwise people will be able to steal it and jeopardize the ledger. So it's blockchain technology is one of the most unique things that has been reissued out to the world, because it's been around for almost 50 years.
That's a fact. I agree. I think I do that just so that people who are unaware, because it's so many of people that look like us that are unaware, and then they see an article and the first thing they want to do is be like, oh, see, that's why I don't get involved in it. But it's like, no, just understand that I say that there's a difference so that they can be more inclined to educate themselves about it. You know what I'm saying? Because it's coming
You gotta make it
regardless.
cool.
You
Like
gotta make
crypto
it
gotta be
cool.
cool. It gotta be cool in order
Ain't
for
nothing more
everybody.
cooler than drama to these people. Like,
But see, that's bad drama. You watching people run off with money, that don't make you want to invest.
right.
It's like I've seen memes today about FTX. They were like, they made a whole Pornhub meme, and they was like, you want to see a guy screw over 1 million people, and they showed a picture of like Bankman. And, I'm just saying,
with a
it's
name like
wild out here.
Bankman, it's like how can you trust a man named Bankman? That's almost like Creflo Dollar. You know what I'm saying? Like, what
With
you
your
expect him
money,
to do?
you think you should trust the man who's named Bankman. I'd be like, oh, you have bank in your name. You know what to do with money. Apparently not. Look, I can't even say that because he didn't take a complete L. Even though his net worth got almost a $16 billion hit, he still got net worth versus liquid completely different. I learned this dealing with so many celebrities because what their net worth is when you pull up on them and you like,
Kanye told us. I mean, Ye told us that he was like he was worth 11 billion, and he sat there and told us in the interview he has about 120 million liquid. You know what I'm saying? Like,
because that's assets. That's including your cars, your house,
and all his contracts, all his. You know what I'm saying? So
that's
all of
completely
that
different. So when they say he lost 16 billion in net worth, that's not telling how much he lost in liquid. It could have been a lot less.
Yeah.
A lot less.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And they just lost the Miami Heat stadium contract. That's part of his net worth being dwindled down.
Wow.
FTX had the stadium down here.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, they probably had another 18 years on that contract, and it just got terminated today.
Wow.
Because they filed for bankruptcy, so they can't pay for it.
Interesting. Interesting. I did not know that. I do know crypto.com is supposed to own the Staples Center, but it looks like folks need to get educated. Go to
Crypto.com.
I'm not even going to tell them where to go to for you, but you can check out either one of us to get educated about this, the wave of the future. What do you think about, let's get into my last question, which is the future of business as we know it, because, you know, I'm hearing things about cannabis. I'm hearing things about learning foreign languages, like learning Chinese and algorithms. Like, what do you feel about the future of business as we know it? Booming business in the future.
We are going to see a heavy digital presence, like literally almost everything. 93% of the business world for sure will be e-commerce. So if you lack a digital presence, you're going to struggle. You're going to struggle. And I recommend people establish that way they have a trusted network. And I'm thankful that I started early and people know who I am. And then just like I'm fortunate to even be on this platform and be able to gain more exposure in order to further solidify what I'm doing in the digital world, because you have to pay attention to the collective consciousness. And when I say that, watch movies. So the expression of dystopian futures or what the future may look like when we see augmented reality or virtual reality billboards just popping up right across your face. That's called geolocation locking. So I literally can drop virtual billboards right in front of your house, and when you walk out on your phone or you trying to take a selfie in front of your house, it'll be right there. So digital is everything. Metaverse 6-7 years out, augmented reality is here. It's gamification, esports blowing up, multi-billion-dollar. We're going tech heavy because we should have been there. We're actually behind. And part of the reason why we're behind is because of the way that the United States is dumbing people down.
Talking about relationships. Anyway, keep going. Keep going. Relationships are going to happen regardless. Either they're going to happen or they're not going to happen. And you got to, for me, I feel like you just got to allow what is supposed to be allowed and keep going to the future, because the future is going to happen regardless. Now, I can't sit here and I'm not even going to get that personal, but yeah, I mean, thank you. I'm going to go ahead and let you do your, let everybody know where they can find you, sir. And thank you for coming on this evening.
So most definitely, I for sure appreciate the invite. I hope I have the ability soon, but you all can find me on Facebook, D Jones Bay, Instagram, Prince of Hemp, and we have the DJ Bay Mastermind active right now. Be sure to join that if you want to get tapped into any forms of financial literacy. DJBayMastermind.com. But that's it.
Definitely, I want to have you back on, especially around. Even next week we're gonna have talk about cannabis. Black women getting into cannabis, Black men getting into cannabis, growing farms and things of that nature. You can find me where you find me, and that's right here and nowhere else. Black Space Live. Here we go. Y'all have a good evening. I hope you enjoyed this show, because I did.
Peace. Thank you.